I couldn't breathe. The key wouldn't turn in the lock of my own son's bakery, the one I'd spent my life savings helping him open just 8 months ago. Through the front window, I could see someone had changed the furniture arrangement. That wasn't right. None of this was right. When the door finally opened, the smell hit me first. Stale coffee, unwashed dishes, and something else I couldn't quite place. The cheerful yellow walls Nathan and I had painted together last spring now looked dingy under the harsh overhead lights. Someone had left dirty plates stacked on the customer tables. The beautiful vintage display case I'd found at an estate sale was covered in fingerprints and crumbs. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing in the empty front room. It was 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. The bakery should have been humming with the after-school crowd by now, but there wasn't a single customer in sight. That's when I heard it. A woman's voice from the back, sharp and commanding. "Nathan! Where's my tea? I asked for it 20 minutes ago." My son's voice came next, thin and exhausted. "I'm sorry, Gloria. I'm just finishing the last batch of croissants. I'll bring it right out." "Well, hurry up. And make sure it's not too hot this time. You know I can't drink it when it's scalding." I pushed through the swinging door to the kitchen. What I saw made my heart stop. My son, my Nathan, who had always been so proud and confident, stood at the industrial mixer with his shoulders hunched, dark circles under his eyes that made him look 10 years older than his 31 years. His apron was covered in flour and what looked like dried batter from several days ago, but that wasn't what shocked me. Sitting in the corner of the kitchen, in the comfortable armchair that was supposed to be for Nathan's breaks, was a woman I'd never seen before. She had to be in her late 50s, wearing a silk robe and slippers, with her feet propped up on a box of supplies. She was scrolling through her phone, a plate of pastries beside her that looked like they'd come straight from this morning's inventory. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. The woman looked up, annoyed at the interruption. "I'm Gloria, Rachel's mother. And you are?" "I'm Nathan's mother. And I'd like to know what you're doing in my son's kitchen wearing a bathrobe at 3 in the afternoon." Gloria sighed, as if I were the one being unreasonable. "Rachel didn't tell you? We're staying here for a while. Our condo flooded 3 weeks ago. The restoration company said it could take months, so naturally we needed somewhere to go." "We?" I repeated. "My husband and I. Frank's upstairs napping in Nathan's apartment right now. He has a bad back, you know, so he needs the bed during the day." I felt my hands clenching into fists. Nathan's apartment, the one-bedroom apartment above the bakery. Well, where else would we stay? Hotels are so expensive these days. She said this as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Rachel said it would be fine. We're family, after all. Nathan had turned away from the mixer, his face pale. "Mom, I didn't know you were coming today." "Clearly." I looked at him, really looked at him. He'd lost weight. His hands were shaking slightly as he wiped them on his already dirty apron. "When did you last sleep, sweetheart?" "I sleep," he said quickly. Too quickly. "I've been sleeping on the couch in the break room. It's fine." "It's not fine," I said, my voice rising. "None of this is fine." Gloria made an irritated sound. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. It's only temporary. Besides, Nathan's young. He can handle a little disruption. We're not exactly living in luxury here ourselves." She gestured around the industrial kitchen as if it were a prison cell. "Where's Rachel?" I demanded. "I'd like to speak with my son's girlfriend about this arrangement." "She's at her nail appointment," Gloria said, checking her phone. "She should be back around 5. Nathan, darling, about that tea?" Before Nathan could move, I stepped forward. "Nathan will not be making you tea. Nathan, we need to talk. Now. Privately." Gloria started to protest, but I held up my hand. "This is not a discussion." I pulled Nathan through the back door into the small alley behind the bakery. The moment we were outside, away from Gloria's prying eyes, his composure crumbled. He leaned against the brick wall, and I saw tears forming in his eyes. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to see it like this. How long has this been going on?" He rubbed his face with both hands. "They showed up 3 weeks ago. Rachel said it would just be for a few days while they figured out their situation. The condo flooding was real. I saw the photos. But then a few days turned into a week, and Gloria started rearranging things, saying the bakery needed better organization. And Frank, Rachel's dad, he just makes himself at home, uses all the hot water in the morning, leaves his stuff everywhere, treats the place like a hotel. And you're sleeping on a couch in your own business? They need the bed more, Nathan said, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. Gloria has insomnia, and Frank's back problems. They're older. It made sense. Nathan, you're working yourself to death. When do you sleep? I close up around 11, clean everything, prep for the morning. Then I sleep from midnight to 5 when I have to start the first batches. It's fine, it's only temporary. That's 7 hours a week ago. At most. You can't sustain that. He didn't argue, which told me everything I needed to know. What about the business? I asked. How are sales? Nathan's face went even paler. Not great. Gloria keeps eating the inventory. She says she's quality testing, but she'll go through half a dozen croissants in a morning. And Frank invites his friends over. They sit out front for hours, nursing one coffee between 4 people, taking up all the tables. Real customers come in, see there's nowhere to sit, and leave. My chest tightened with anger. Have you talked to Rachel about this? I've tried. She says I'm being selfish. That family helps family. That if I really loved her, I'd understand that her parents are going through a hard time. He finally looked at me, and the defeat in his eyes nearly broke my heart. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am being selfish. No, I said firmly. You're being taken advantage of. There's a difference. But they have nowhere else to go. That's not your responsibility, Nathan. You didn't flood their condo. You didn't make them wait 3 weeks to find alternative housing. They're adults with their own resources. They're choosing to stay here because it's convenient and free. Nathan shook his head. Rachel says I don't understand because I've never had a close family like hers. She says it's different when you really care about people. I felt a chill run down my spine. I'd heard this kind of language before, seen this kind of manipulation. Nathan, I need you to be honest with me. Has Rachel said other things like that? Made you feel like you're the problem for having boundaries? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, quietly, she gets upset when I can't drop everything to help her parents. Last week, Gloria wanted me to drive her to 3 different stores to find a specific brand of tea. It took 4 hours. We had to close early. Rachel said I was being difficult when I mentioned we lost money. What about your finances? How is the bakery doing financially? Nathan looked away. I need to show you something. We went back inside, this time bypassing the kitchen and going straight to the tiny office at the back. Nathan pulled up his bank statements on the old desktop computer. What I saw made my stomach drop. Nathan, you're down $42,000 from where you were 3 months ago. I know, he whispered. The inventory costs keep going up because Gloria eats so much, and Frank has been ordering supplies online, saying he's helping, but he orders premium stuff we don't need. Last week he bought $1,000 worth of specialty flour because he thought it would be good for the business. I can't use it. It's for gluten-free baking, and we're not set up for that. Have you asked him to stop? Rachel says I'm being ungrateful, that he's trying to help. I scrolled further through the statements. There were large cash withdrawals I didn't understand. Nathan, what are these? $5,000 3 weeks ago, $3,000 2 weeks ago, $2,500 last week. Nathan's face flushed red. Gloria said she needed money for the condo repairs, that their insurance wasn't covering everything. She said they'd pay me back as soon as the insurance check came through. And Rachel agreed to this? Rachel suggested it. She said it was the least we could do since they're family. I felt my blood pressure rising. Nathan, they're not your family. You and Rachel aren't even engaged. You've been dating for what, 8 months? 10 months, he corrected quietly. And Rachel says that's just a technicality, that we're committed, and that's what matters. I sat down heavily in the desk chair. My son, who had worked so hard to open this bakery, who had put everything he had into this dream, was being bled dry. And he couldn't even see it. Nathan, I need you to listen to me very carefully. What's happening here isn't normal. It's not how family treats family. They've taken over your home, your business, and your bank account. You're exhausted, you're losing money, and you're sleeping 5 hours a night on a couch. This isn't temporary. This is them taking advantage of you. Mom, please, Nathan said, his voice breaking. I know it looks bad, but Rachel loves me. She's just trying to help her parents through a hard time. If I can't do this one thing for her, then what? She'll leave you? Nathan, if she would leave you for setting reasonable boundaries, then she's not the right person for you. He shook his head stubbornly. You don't understand. Before Rachel, I was alone. The bakery was just work. She made me feel like I mattered, like I was part of something bigger. Her family is so close, so warm. Everything I never had growing up after Dad left. That hit me like a punch to the gut. Nathan, I know your father leaving was hard. I know you wanted a big, close family. But this isn't that. This is manipulation dressed up as love. Before he could respond, the back door slammed open. A man I assumed was Frank stumbled in, looking rumpled from his nap. He was in his early 60s, overweight, wearing one of Nathan's t-shirts that was several sizes too small for him. Nathan, we're out of coffee upstairs. Go get some from the front. He said it like an order, not a request. I stood up. Excuse me, I'm Nathan's mother. And you are? Frank looked me up and down dismissively. Frank Mitchell, Rachel's dad. Nathan, seriously, the coffee? Gloria's going to have a fit if there's none when she wants her afternoon cup. Nathan's busy, I said coldly. If you want coffee, there's a grocery store 3 blocks away. Frank's face reddened. Look, lady, I don't know who you think you are, but this is between Nathan and Rachel. We're staying here because we need to, and if you've got a problem with that, take it up with your son. I'm taking it up with you, I said, stepping forward. You've been living in his apartment for 3 weeks. You're eating his inventory. You're interfering with his business. And apparently, you've taken over $33,000 from him. Frank's eyes narrowed. That's a loan. We'll pay it back. When? Show me the paperwork. We don't need paperwork. We're family. No, I said clearly. You're not. You're the parents of his girlfriend of 10 months. You're guests who have severely overstayed your welcome. Gloria appeared in the doorway, her robe now replaced with a tracksuit, though she still wore slippers. What's all this shouting? Nathan, I thought you were making tea. Nathan isn't making anything for you, I said. Because you're leaving. Gloria laughed. Actually laughed. Excuse me? We're not going anywhere. Rachel said we could stay as long as we needed. This arrangement works perfectly fine for everyone. Does it work for Nathan? I turned to my son. Tell them, Nathan. Tell them how you're sleeping 5 hours a night, how you're down $42,000 in 3 months, how your business is failing because they're eating the profits. Nathan opened his mouth, but Gloria cut him off. Oh, he's being dramatic. Businesses have ups and downs. And as for the sleeping arrangements, that's temporary. Once we get settled, everything will go back to normal. She smiled at Nathan with what I'm sure she thought was warmth but looked more like possession. Nathan doesn't mind helping us out. Do you, sweetie? You know how much Rachel appreciates what you're doing for us. I watched my son's face. I watched him wrestle with wanting to speak up and wanting to keep the peace. I watched him choose silence. And that's when I knew I had to do what he couldn't. You have until 6 o'clock tonight to pack your things and leave, I said, my voice calm but firm. Both of you. Frank laughed. You can't kick us out. This isn't your property. No, but it's Nathan's property, and I'm his mother. And I'm telling you that if you're not gone by 6, I will call the police and have you forcibly removed for trespassing. Trespassing! Gloria shrieked. We're not trespassing. Rachel invited us. Rachel doesn't live here. Rachel doesn't own this property. Nathan does, and he has the right to control who stays in his home and his business. I pulled out my phone. I'm calling my lawyer right now. We'll see what he says about guests who refuse to leave after being asked. Nathan! Gloria turned to my son, her voice taking on a pleading tone. You're not really going to let her do this, are you? After everything we've done for you? After how welcoming we've been? After Rachel has stood by you? Nathan looked at me, then at Gloria, then at the floor. I could see him crumbling. Nathan, I said softly, look at me. He did, reluctantly. Remember when you were 7 and that boy at school kept taking your lunch money? You gave it to him for 3 months because he said his family needed it more than you did. And then we found out he was buying video games with it. Nathan's eyes welled up. Mom, you have the biggest heart of anyone I know. You want to help people, but there's a difference between helping and being used. These people aren't your responsibility. They're adults who can figure out their own housing situation. But they won't, as long as you keep enabling them. Enabling! Gloria screeched. How dare you? We're in crisis. For 3 weeks? I shot back. It's been 3 weeks, and you haven't looked for another place to stay? Haven't contacted other family members? Haven't checked into extended stay hotels? You've done nothing except settle in here like this is your retirement home. Frank stepped forward, his face red with anger. Listen here. No, you listen, I said, my voice dropping to a deadly calm. I spent 40 years working as a paralegal. I know tenant law. I know property law. And I know that in Ontario, guests who don't pay rent and haven't been here for 60 days have no tenancy rights whatsoever. Nathan can ask you to leave right now, and if you don't, you're trespassing. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to go upstairs, pack your belongings, and be out of here by 6 o'clock. If you're not, I will call the police. And then I will call my lawyer, and we will pursue charges for the $33,000 you've taken from Nathan under false pretenses. False pretenses! Gloria's voice hit a pitch that probably scared dogs 3 blocks away. That was a loan. Then you'll have no problem signing a promissory note right now with a repayment schedule and interest. I pulled out my phone and opened a notes app. Let's make it official. $33,000 to be repaid in full by. When? Gloria and Frank looked at each other. Neither spoke. That's what I thought, I said. Nathan, where's Rachel right now? Still at her nail appointment, Nathan said quietly. She should be done soon. Call her. Tell her to come here immediately. We're all going to have a conversation. Mom, please, Nathan said, his voice breaking. Can't we just... No, I said firmly. No more just dealing with it. No more just getting through. You're going to stand up for yourself, or I'm going to stand up for you. Either way, this ends today. Nathan stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, he pulled out his phone and dialed. I heard Rachel's voice on the other end, bright and cheerful. Hey, babe, I'm almost done. The color is gorgeous. You're going to love it. Rachel, I need you to come to the bakery right now, Nathan said, his voice stronger than I expected. My mom is here. We need to talk about your parents. There was a pause. Then Rachel's voice, no longer cheerful. What about my parents? Just come, please. He hung up. The silence in the office was deafening. Gloria recovered first. Fine. We'll wait for Rachel. She'll straighten this whole misunderstanding out. She knows how important family is. We waited in tense silence. Frank went upstairs and came back down with a beer from Nathan's fridge, making a show of getting comfortable in Nathan's desk chair. Gloria returned to the kitchen and started making herself tea, pointedly ignoring me when I followed her. 20 minutes later, the front door chimed. Rachel walked in, and I got my first good look at her. Mid-20s, pretty in a conventional way, dressed in expensive athleisure wear that probably cost more than a week's worth of bakery profits. Her nails were indeed freshly done, an intricate design that must have taken hours. Nathan? She called out. Baby, what's going on? We all moved to the front of the bakery. Rachel saw her parents first, then me, then Nathan's exhausted face. Her expression went carefully neutral. Mom, Dad, what's happening? This woman, Gloria said, pointing at me, is trying to throw us out on the street. She says we have to leave by 6 o'clock. Tonight. Rachel turned to Nathan, her eyes wide. Nathan, you're not going to let her do that, are you? You know my parents need us right now. Rachel, I said before Nathan could respond. I'm Diane, Nathan's mother. We haven't met. Rachel's smile was strained. No, we haven't. Nathan's told me so much about you. I wish I could say the same. Nathan didn't mention that your parents would be moving in, or that they'd be taking over his apartment and eating his inventory, or that they've taken $33,000 from him in the past 3 weeks. Rachel's face flushed. That's not how it is. My parents are in crisis. Their condo flooded. They needed somewhere to stay, and Nathan offered because he's generous and understanding, unlike some people. Did Nathan offer, Or did you tell him they were coming? Rachel's eyes flashed with anger. What kind of question is that? Of course he offered. He knows how important family is to me, how close we are. Not everyone had a broken home growing up. Nathan flinched at that, and I saw red. Watch yourself, I said, my voice dangerous. You know nothing about Nathan's childhood or our family, and you certainly don't get to use it as a weapon to manipulate him. I'm not manipulating anyone, Rachel's voice rose. I'm asking my boyfriend to help my family through a difficult time. If he can't do that, if he's going to choose his overbearing mother over the woman he claims to love, then maybe we need to rethink this relationship. There it was. The threat, veiled as a conditional, but a threat nonetheless. I watched Nathan's face crumple, watched him start to fold, and I couldn't let it happen. Rachel, I said clearly, where have your parents been looking for alternative housing? What? It's been 3 weeks. Where have they looked? What hotels have they called? What rental properties have they viewed? What family members have they reached out to? Rachel's mouth opened and closed. They've been busy dealing with the insurance company and the restoration. That doesn't take 24 hours a day for 3 weeks. So where have they looked? I don't know the details, Rachel said defensively. You don't know because they haven't looked, I said flatly, because why would they? They've got free housing, free food, free money, and a built-in servant in my son who's working himself to death to keep everyone happy. That's not fair, Rachel said, but her voice had lost some of its conviction. What's not fair is what you've done to Nathan. Look at him, Rachel, really look at him. When's the last time he slept a full night? When's the last time he ate a proper meal? When's the last time he didn't have dark circles under his eyes? Rachel glanced at Nathan, and I saw something flicker in her expression. Guilt? Concern? It was gone too quickly to tell. He's just tired. Running a business is hard. It's a lot harder when you're supporting 4 people on 1 income and sleeping 5 hours a night on a couch in your own building. 5 hours? Rachel looked genuinely surprised. Nathan, you said you were fine with the couch. I am, Nathan said quickly. It's fine. It's not fine, I said. None of this is fine. And you know it, Rachel. You've known it the whole time. Rachel's face hardened. You don't know anything about our relationship. Nathan and I are partners. We make decisions together. And he agreed to help my parents. Did he agree? Or did you tell him that's what good boyfriends do? I took a step closer. Did he agree? Or did you imply that saying no would mean he didn't really love you? Did he agree? Or did you make him feel like he was being selfish for having basic boundaries? Stop it, Rachel said, but her voice shook slightly. Why? Because I'm right? Because you know exactly what you've been doing? I turned to Nathan. Tell her how you really feel about this arrangement. Nathan looked between me and Rachel, his face agonized. I just want everyone to be happy. That's not what I asked, I said gently. I asked how you feel. Nathan's hands were shaking. He shoved them in his pockets. I'm tired, he said finally. I'm really tired. And I'm scared. The bakery is losing money. I'm using up my savings to cover the shortfall. If this keeps going for another month, I'm going to have to close. Rachel's face paled. Close? Nathan, you never said, because every time I try to talk about it, you tell me I'm being dramatic or selfish, or that I'm not thinking about your parents' needs. Nathan's voice was getting stronger, more certain. I've been trying to talk about this for 2 weeks, Rachel, but you don't want to hear it. That's not true, Rachel protested. I listen to you. You hear me. You don't listen. There's a difference. Nathan looked at his girlfriend, really looked at her, maybe for the first time in weeks. When's the last time you asked me how I was doing? Not how the bakery was doing, or whether your parents needed anything, but how I was actually doing. Rachel opened her mouth, then closed it. No answer came. That's what I thought, Nathan said quietly. Gloria, who had been uncharacteristically silent during this exchange, finally spoke up. This is ridiculous. Nathan, you're letting your mother poison you against Rachel. Against us. We're family. No, Nathan said, and his voice was firm. You're not my family. You're Rachel's family. And maybe someday, if Rachel and I worked out, If we got married, you would become my family too. But that's not what's happening here. What's happening is that you've taken over my home, my business, and my life, and I can't do it anymore." The words seemed to surprise him as much as they surprised everyone else. He looked at me, and I gave him an encouraging nod. "I want you to leave," Nathan continued, looking at Gloria and Frank. "I want you out of my apartment by tonight, and I want the $33,000 back. If you can't pay it all at once, we'll work out a payment plan, but it needs to be official, in writing." With my mom's lawyer, Frank stood up, his face red. "Now you listen here, boy." "No," Nathan cut him off. "I'm done listening. I've listened for 3 weeks while you've told me what I should do, how I should run my business, what I should feel. I'm done. Get out." For a moment, I thought Frank might actually try to fight. His hands clenched into fists, and he took a step toward Nathan. I moved between them without thinking. "Touch my son, and I will have you arrested for assault," I said quietly. "Try me." Frank looked at me, at Nathan's determined face, at Gloria's shocked expression. Then he grabbed his beer and stormed toward the stairs to the apartment. "Fine, we'll pack. But don't come crying to us when you need help. Don't expect us to be there for your wedding or your kids or any of it. You're making a huge mistake, Nathan. Huge." "The only mistake I made was letting you stay in the first place," Nathan said. Gloria tried one more time. "Rachel, honey, talk some sense into him. Tell him how family works. Tell him—" "Mom," Rachel said quietly, "stop." Everyone turned to look at her. She was staring at Nathan with an expression I couldn't quite read. Gloria started. "No, Mom, he's right. We've taken advantage." Rachel's voice was barely above a whisper. "I convinced myself it was okay because you needed help, because family helps family. But I knew he wasn't sleeping. I knew the money was a problem. I just didn't want to see it because it was easier not to." "Rachel, don't do this," Gloria pleaded. "Don't let her turn you against your own family." "I'm not turning against you, but I'm not going to keep letting you use Nathan either." Rachel looked at my son. "I'm sorry. I should have stood up for you. I should have set boundaries with them. I was scared of them being mad at me, of them pulling away, so I let them push you instead." It was, I had to admit, more self-awareness than I'd expected from her. "You have until 6 o'clock, Nathan said to Gloria and Frank. "After that, I'm calling the police." Gloria stared at him for a long moment, then turned and followed Frank upstairs without another word. Rachel stood there, tears running down her face. "Nathan, I'm so sorry. I know that's not enough. I know I've hurt you, but I want to make it right. Tell me how to make it right." Nathan was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I need space, Rachel. I need time to figure out if this is something we can come back from." "How much time?" "I don't know. But for now, I need you to go. I need to be alone." Rachel nodded, wiping her eyes. She started toward the door, then turned back. "For what it's worth, I do love you. I need to learn how to love you better." After she left, Nathan and I stood in the empty bakery. Upstairs, we could hear thumping and the raised voices of Gloria and Frank arguing about packing. "I can't believe I just did that," Nathan said, his voice shaking. "I can," I said, pulling him into a hug. "I always knew you had it in you. You just needed to get angry enough." "I'm not angry," Nathan said. Then he pulled back and looked at me. "Actually, I am. I'm furious. They took my home, my business, my peace, and I let them. You're not letting them anymore. That's what matters." We spent the next 3 hours supervising Gloria and Frank's departure. They tried to take some of Nathan's belongings, claiming they'd been gifts. They tried to negotiate the deadline. They tried to make Nathan feel guilty. But every time he started to waver, I stepped in. At exactly 5:58, Frank carried the last box out to their car. Gloria stopped in the doorway for one final attempt. "You're going to regret this," she said to Nathan. "Rachel will never forgive you for choosing your mother over her family." "If that's true," Nathan said calmly, "then Rachel isn't the person I thought she was, and better to know that now." After they left, Nathan and I stood in the apartment above the bakery. It was a mess. They'd left dishes in the sink, towels on the floor, and the bed unmade. But it was Nathan's mess to clean up now, his space again. "I need to call my lawyer tomorrow," I said. "Get that loan formalized. Make sure they actually pay you back." "Do you think they will?" "I think they'll try to weasel out of it, but we'll have documentation, we'll have witnesses. If we have to take them to small claims court, we will." Nathan sat down on his own bed, for the first time in 3 weeks. "Thank you, Mom. If you hadn't come today, I don't think I ever would have spoken up. You would have, eventually. You're stronger than you think." I didn't feel strong. I felt like I was being selfish and ungrateful and all the things Gloria said I was. That's what manipulators do, sweetheart. They make you doubt yourself. They make you feel like having boundaries is being mean. They twist everything until you can't tell up from down anymore. Nathan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "How do I make sure this never happens again? How do I learn to see it coming?" That's a good question. And I think the answer is that you need to learn to trust yourself more, to trust that your feelings matter, even when someone is telling you they don't. To trust that wanting basic respect and consideration doesn't make you selfish. "I think I need to talk to someone," Nathan said. "Like a therapist or something, because Rachel wasn't the first girlfriend who made me feel like this. And if I don't figure out why I keep ending up in these situations, it's going to keep happening." I felt a surge of pride. "That's very mature of you." "I don't feel mature. I feel like an idiot who let his girlfriend's parents steal from him for 3 weeks. You're not an idiot. You're kind. There's a difference. You just need to learn that you can be kind without being a doormat." Over the next few weeks, Nathan and I worked together to get the bakery back on track. We changed the locks, changed the Wi-Fi password, and put up a sign clearly stating that the upstairs apartment was private residence and off-limits to customers. Nathan hired a part-time employee to help with the workload so he could actually sleep at night. Rachel called several times. Nathan didn't answer at first, but eventually they had a long conversation. She wanted to try again to prove she'd learned from this. Nathan said he wasn't ready, maybe wouldn't ever be ready, but he appreciated her honesty. Gloria and Frank, predictably, refused to sign the promissory note. My lawyer sent them a formal demand letter. They responded with their own lawyer, claiming the money had been a gift. Nathan had kept meticulous bank records showing the withdrawals, complete with text messages from Gloria promising repayment. We filed in small claims court. 3 months later, we won a judgment for the full $33,000 plus interest and legal fees. Gloria and Frank are paying it back in installments of $500 a month. It'll take years, but Nathan will get his money back. The bakery is thriving now. Nathan's been sleeping, eating properly, and his creativity has come roaring back. He developed 3 new signature items that have become local favorites. His customer reviews mention his warm personality and obvious passion for his work. Last week, he called me with exciting news. He's been seeing someone new, a teacher who lives in the neighborhood. On their 3rd date, she told him she thought it was wonderful how close he was with his mother. When he explained about what had happened with Rachel's parents, she said, "Good for you for standing up for yourself. My ex never could say no to his family, and it destroyed us. Boundaries are so important." Nathan said he almost cried with relief. I think about that day often, about how close Nathan came to losing everything because he confused manipulation with love, control with caring, about how easy it is to lose yourself when you're desperate to be part of something, to feel needed and wanted. But I also think about how he found his voice that day, how he stood up, even though it was terrifying, even though it meant potentially losing someone he loved. How he chose himself, maybe for the first time in his life. That's the lesson I hope he carries forward. That love shouldn't require you to sacrifice your health, your peace, or your boundaries. That real family, real love, real partnership, none of those things should leave you exhausted and broke and sleeping on a couch in your own building. And if someone tells you that setting boundaries makes you selfish, if they say that family means having no limits, if they claim that love means accepting whatever they dish out without complaint, those are the moments when you need to trust yourself most. Those are the moments when you need to say no, even if your voice shakes, even if they call you ungrateful, even if they threaten to leave. Because the people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. They'll work with you to find solutions that don't require you to destroy yourself. They'll value your well-being as much as you value theirs. And the ones who won't? The ones who see your kindness as weakness and your love as something to exploit? Those people need to hear one word, clearly and firmly: no. Nathan learned that lesson the hard way, but he learned it. And now, watching him rebuild his life, his business, and his sense of self, I couldn't be more proud. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for others, is to know when to stand up and say enough. To know when helping has become enabling. To know when